So I'm going to show you how to create a simple watercolor flower, and I am using Arches aquarelle paper. It's on a board. You see these papers are all attached here, and this is a hot press paper. I like it because it's somewhat smooth, and I am also using a 14 round brush. It's a watercolor brush, and I have Dr. P.H. Martin's paints, and they are in my little tray that I've been using for quite some time and mixing the colors together here. And I also have just a little towel to wipe my brush off on. And then of course I have a jar of water. So I'm just gonna start with a couple little free-form dots, and I should tell you I'm self-taught, and this is how I have been creating, and there's many other ways to create these flowers, of course, and this is how I do it. So I'm gonna lay down a little water. So I made sort of what would be the center of a flower there. Then I'm going to create some petals around it, some smaller little petals. And I'm going to pretend that the flower is going to flow out this way. So maybe a couple peek out from on top. I'm just laying down a little water there, and then I'm going to take a little of the water of the color and add it in. I don't want this to all be even, so I can use less if I want. If I want to soak up some of it, I can just take the edge of my towel. You can use a towel or a paper towel. I tend to use towels. And just wash them over and over. Let this branch out. I'm using kind of flattening out the brush. Tip that way, more round this way. There's still some color in that. Just add in a little color. This is Alpine Rose. I think the orange on my thing is Alpine Rose mixed with cadmium yellow. Add a tiny bit of that in there. Spread it around, let it pool in. For some color variation. Let's see, where's this flower going? I'm gonna make this petal come just a little bit more low. It's still wet, so it's okay to move it around a little. If it dries, then you're going to end up with that, like a mark where the ink or the color was. Just going to make a petal here. Add in a touch of color. I'm wiping my brush off and I'm smoothing that color around, just so it's not too even. Have this petal come out over here. It's flowing down, it has some movement. I'm going to leave it that shade of pink for now. Hopefully it won't dry before I try to go back if I want to add some color. I tend to really like the brights. There we go. And that petal just flowed right in there because the water touched, which is okay. You can either go with it or you can be really tight about your work, and I tend to more go improvisationally and kind of go with where the color lies. Maybe a little bit more orange in here. Maybe another couple little petals peek up at the top. Just seems more balanced that way. So kind of go with what your eye tells you. And I gotta tell you, it's really so all about how much you do this and how much you practice. Okay, I'm gonna add some leaves. And leaves aren't, you know, necessarily symmetrical. So, but maybe my first one, I'm gonna kind of wiggle one in here. Ooh, get some pink in there. Get some more green here. We have a tiny bit left of Hooker's green. I like to mix up my greens, especially in the leaves, because they're really never consistent colors in nature. Add a little bit there. Maybe there's one just kind of hanging down this way. You see what I do is I start with the tip and then I press down, and this brush is really the shape of a leaf. Then I lift up at the edge. Maybe a little yellow belongs in there. One thing I don't do is fret too much about perfection, and you know, when you're working with watercolors, it's just so unpredictable. Let's give it a little stem up there. Again, that pink flowed right in, which I kind of like, blurring that line. Just kind of wiggling it, more irregular looking leaf. Putting the water down first. You see, I don't always do that, but when I want to have a bit less color, less darkness, I mean less light, yes, less darkness, I do that. And give her a little bit of a vine. I'm gonna work fast so this doesn't dry, so I can add in color as I want. Add a little of this Hooker's green in spots. Maybe add some yellow in spots. Some of this bluish green. And there you have it.